look at that. 10 seconds exactly.
Perfect.
All right. I'm ready when you are at 10
No,
seconds.
I'm ready as well. 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
All right. Perfect. In the bottom right-hand corner, ladies and gentlemen, we have our troll player, Rhaah.
And in the top left, we have another troll player in the blue. It is Pride, Rhaah representing Team Hirin's Grasp, whereas Pride is representing Team Cheese. Made a better troll win!
So we have a random troll into a troll. Now, Mad Hat, do you know, because we're going to be seeing a random... Ooh, we actually also see a Chieftain versus Plaguebringer. Interesting. Now, do you know, because we're seeing a random troll... Obviously, it's an advantage to random because you don't know exactly what you're going to be playing against. But do you think for Troll v Troll that matters especially more or less? What do you think about that?
It's hard to tell. I haven't actually played much Troll, if I'm honest, recently.
Me neither, so we're just
really
going to...
give you that, but let me think about it. Now, at the moment, the Troll build, since the Smashers got cheaper, so both of them just immediately built one. So I think it's all just down... who's gonna be the more aggressive one. Well, the repair bug has been fixed, so repairs are pretty cheap now. Other than that, I think probably it gives the random player a slight advantage, because he knows he's up against Troll, whereas I guess it's probably was Pride who picked Trolls, right?
Right. And then we had a random from Rhaah, so... Or Pride randomed, and Rhaah, I think, chose Trolls? I actually forget now. Oh, no. I talked myself out of it. I was so sure to start.
It's too late now. We'll figure it out.
Too late. So let's...
Yeah, pretty classic build so far from Rhaah. It's just Plague Disease, Feast on Disease, Plague Bolt, and Deep Waters. Very curious that he picked that one. I don't know if he has like much experience with that on this patch, because I think the consensus at the moment is that Chieftain is probably stronger. Then again, it's Troll versus Troll. So there's a couple shenanigans.
I'm kind of surprised to see that too. I guess the one thing about Plaguebringer, in specifically, probably explicitly, Troll v Troll, is feasting on Smashers seems really, really good, because you're always going to be able to get a really good value because the Troll units are so beefy. So maybe you want to be able to use a Plaguebringer just because you can do really consistent magical DPS. But and it'll help with the early rushing, right? If you lose a Smasher early on, the Plaguebringer can actually heal himself back up, and he can really trade efficiently. So
yeah,
maybe there's some...
I do wonder if we're gonna see some like corpse spells from him to take advantage of the low corpse number, and especially like you have like this tiring attack that gives you debuff on resistances on your enemy trolls. So on a ranged attack, that's pretty powerful, and considering he doesn't have to hit that many enemies in the first place, that might actually give him some good value, but we'll see.
Absolutely. Life from Death also would probably be something that's pretty good, just for a literal mirror match, right? Because suddenly you're much more efficient in trading for your blow for blow.
Like, for example, if you combo that with the resistance debuff on the auto attack, which I think is also AoE. Creatures around target, yes. So
yeah,
I don't know
so it is AoE.
If the trolls are a little bit too chunky to really spread it, or if it just like then turns into a single. But basically, you have like this force multiplier of like a damage absorb shield on top of a enemy reduction. So especially in the Smasher versus Smasher engagements, that should play a big role. But then again, the Chieftain just has the raw damage. We will see who gets ahead there. The question is, will he spec into it in the first place?
And he'd have to spec into it, and we're going to be kind of curious. This is really going to be becoming a test down to see how well Rhaah has his Troll vs. Troll random mapped out, which is a pretty niche matchup. I don't think I'd have that mapped up at all,
exactly.
Especially if you're randoming into it. So I'll be curious to see how he builds the Plaguebringer. I do agree Chieftain is something that we are mostly used to seeing in the meta. Chieftain's just kind of, you know, big troll use big stick, and he has a bigger stick, and he's a bigger troll, so I think that Chieftain's kind of expected, but I will be kind of curious to see if this Plaguebringer can help sort of exchange the balance a little bit better with his magical damage.
Yep, I just checked the starting build orders, so they started off with the same build, but then went into... Pride went into double hunting, versus Rhaah went only into single hunting on the first expo. So
interesting. Okay.
that could result in a couple more boys for Pride there in the early game, which might snowball.
We also see a little bit more base development from Rhaah over Pride. Rhaah's taken both bottom left bases for himself. Meanwhile, that hasn't even been touched by Pride yet. Pride hasn't touched the upper right hand or middle right hand base. We are seeing a fight over these Medusas right now, though. First Smasher might go down here because it got slowed.
Yeah, the interesting thing is actually that despite the double hunting on the first outpost, Pride is actually behind in PopCap. So Rhaah has been better at constantly producing, but the fight so far has been going better for Pride, definitely. Unless
Plaguebringer also really overcommitting on this, on trying to finish off this Smasher.
Well, there was also like some really sweet micro here by Pride. He's grabbed one of the healthy Smasher and tried to body block as much as possible on the Plaguebringer, and it worked.
Absolutely.
Beautifully done.
We are seeing another... Ooh, so we did have our level 4 first on our Plaguebringer. Big deal. Though I think the Chieftain will get this health potion. One Medusa left. I think that we are going to see Pride just back up and let Rhaah finish his own camp, though. I don't think he wants to contest this much more. We're seeing a big Smasher advantage right now, 4 versus 2.
Nope. Despite this, Rhaah has seemed to have gotten most of the Medusa damage there, so he's one level ahead for the time being.
Still a level ahead. Now we are going to see the Chieftain be able to take his. We are going to see Pride be able to take, I think, his camp uncontested here. Well, I say that, and now we're seeing Rhaah push across the map. I think Rhaah's going to try to contest this. If he can hit level 5 before the Chieftain can hit level 5, that would be a huge, again, mirror matchups, it's so big. So if he can snipe a Medusa or 2 here, that would be huge in terms of damage.
Yep. Also, Pride has 2 fighting huts coming along way before Rhaah, but Rhaah has the Scrapper Horde coming immediately. So
interesting early Scrapper choice. I'm wondering if we're going to go straight into the Spike Flingers.
Oh, Spike Flingers got way too heavily nerfed. You're not going to see them in this matchup. Like, they weren't that prominent in the matchup beforehand because trolls are too chunky, so the AoE doesn't really affect anyone. And now that they only do piercing damage anymore, like pretty much any troll unit has pierce resistance, I believe. So I think the current meta is just Skull Crushers into throwers, especially for like up until the mid game. And especially if you tech the, what's it called? They can bring the pain, especially when used in conjunction, so you get like a nice resistance debuff on the enemy. Which in a troll we troll. In a mirror match, like any kind of advantage you can get is always nice. But two very different approaches here, so it's gonna be interesting who's gonna get ahead here.
We also see that Rhaah right now is a full, like, he's basically half level behind. He just took that undead camp from the top right. He's a half level behind right now, the Plaguebringer, and we predicted correctly as well. Pride did end up going, or sorry, Rhaah did end up going for the Life from Death. So we are seeing that 300 hit point shield on the Smashers, which will be a big game changer, I think, especially when you see these early Smasher fights. If you can take an extra 300 hit points on 2 or 3 Smashers, it's going to be a huge game changer.
Yep. And Pride
is my volume a little bit better?
Pride is getting some throwers out here, so that should be interesting. We also have a throwing camp for Rhaah and a second fighting hut for him now as well. Unfortunately, I think for Pride he didn't have quite enough food, despite a lot of more hunting huts than Rhaah at the moment, to really keep producing them. But I think he's ahead. Yep.
We also saw a +1 Smasher trade up here in that fight, so 2 Pride Smashers going down versus the 1 Rhaah Smasher, which is going to let, despite the reinforcement advantage being right now for Pride, Rhaah is still going to be able to put pressure on, given he's got better supporting for his Smashers when it comes to healing them up and giving them damage debuffs. He's going to actually be able to keep pushing here. Ooh, a Scrapper right out in front here. He might actually go down. If he's able to snipe it, that would be huge. That's 20 food down the train. Huge pickoff. Yikes. Oh, and Pride even acknowledging it in the chat. And a second Scrapper actually is being forced to hide. Hopefully he doesn't get caught too.
Yeah, very curious position to grab them. I mean, you can send them down in the sector below. There is some scrap there, but curious scrap horde position there. Okay, does force him back there before the post goes down.
Full retreat as well. Looks like he is all the way back to his main base.
A lot of those smashes are low, So if you don't know, if you upgrade Smashers, they get full health again. So it's really important to get these guys out on low health and then upgrade them. Because like waiting for the heal to tick in is not really worth it. On Smasher it can be, but generally it's just better to just upgrade them and get them back into the fight. We also saw some items bought here. Ugh.
Yeah, it looks...
And
I also just checked population real quick here. We see right now that Rhaah is sitting at 67. Meanwhile, Pride is at 80. So he is 13 pop up right now. So we are seeing that food, that build order that you talked about early on, we are seeing that start to come into effect as he's able to pump more units out a little bit quicker.
Yep, and he also is producing as many tribe shelters as he can. Looks like Rhaah has not... He's very low on resources at the moment. So he's spending them well. The question is, what is he getting for them?
He just got 3 throwers. I'm looking to see if there's any infrastructure improvements.
A small tribe shelter is coming up. That is super expensive. So minus 30. So looks like he's a little bit behind on the woodcutters, which could be a problem.
He also has 3 smashers queued up in his Heart of the Tribe for Rhaah. So he's trying to produce. He's trying to hit his macro, but right now he's spending an extra. What is that per smasher? He's got an extra 30 food locked up, not doing anything right now.
Yeah. And let's see. So Pride is up to 10 smashers, 4 throwers. I think 2 more coming in, and then the thrower upgrades coming in, which will give him that aforementioned resistance debuff. And Rhaah has built a hitting camp, so Star Crusher and the AoE upgrades. So 2 very different styles. But he's also
very different
4 throwing camps. So that should be interesting.
One other important thing to notice too is we have, before we jump into this fight, we have 3 scrappers for the side of Pride, only 1 scrapper for the side of Rhaah. So yes, let's jump into the fight.
Yep. So we have the weakening orb used here by Rhaah, but then immediate disengage. So that's actually gonna get to waste. That's unfortunate. But wow, the weakened effect from these throwers by damn it, Pride. That's his name. It actually seems to be lasting a really long time. I'm quite surprised at that.
It is, and no smashers actually getting one smasher from Pride getting killed there, but despite a lot of smashers getting really low on the side of Rhaah, nothing actually dying there. He really should pull that 1 smasher back that only has 80 health left. That's 1 shot away from basically any troll unit.
Yeah.
He is moving those 2 weakened trolls away. Good job.
By the way, fun fact: if you send them over to like an upgrades post, you can't. They will not be selected when you use the select all command. There we go.
Oh, that's actually really that's a big deal. Level 5 on the Plaguebringer actually getting brought up mid-fight, but it looks like Rhaah he really should, I don't think, have taken this fight right away. He had way lower health trolls, and you can see that here. He lost not only 3 smashers, which is an even trade, he also lost 3 throwers. And in a mirror matchup, losing the upgraded units is going to always be crucial. Also is going to be losing this Eye of the Tribe here since he had a TP out, losing his forward base and forward momentum.
Yep, that's a bit unfortunate, but he is technically ahead on sector count, and he has developed most of them. So in theory, he should be ahead. He's still on 2 fighting huts. One thing you usually see is a bit of a transition into 4 fighting huts in the mid-game, but for the moment, both seem to be fine with the amount they got, since they can't afford much more. But ooh, that's a lot of Skull Crushers coming in.
Now, what are your thoughts on... Trolls are notorious for being a low base requirement faction, where they really don't need all that many bases to function. In a mirror matchup like this, what are your thoughts on Troll v Troll in terms of sector control? Obviously, if you're in a mirror matchup and you have any advantage over your opponent, it's magnified because they're working with the same rule set as you. But what do you think for a matchup like this if they go from a sector advantage, which is normally how we decide maps or games on maps like this?
It really depends what you do with it. I think at the moment Rhaah still has the better economy behind everything. He's producing a lot. Pride is not producing that much, but he has more, like he did basically a rush build, so he's still ahead in pop cap. Also added some Skull Crushers now, by the way. So I think it's actually fairly equal. The thing is, Pride went for the rush build, and Rhaah went for the eco build. So that cancels each other out. If you would go for a high sector count with a rush build, you'd be in trouble.
We are actually seeing a single spike flinger. I wonder if that was a misclick, because after you said the big nerf had happened, but I am curious if that's a misclick. Huge amount more throwers right now, though, for the side of Pride, and he is putting on a lot of hurt. Look at all those. We lost 3 Skull Crushers on the side of Rhaah right there.
But there's also a lot of smashers going down for the blue boys. But just the thrower count in this matchup is so important, because whoever has the most throwers can kite and inflict this vulnerability. So there you go. Corpse Trolls coming in with 120
Oh, level
damage,
5 now hit.
which isn't too bad. Oh, did he spend his points?
Also, Skull Crusher's coming in from the back on the side of Rhaah. He's actually putting a lot of pressure in on these Skull Crushers. I think he might actually save the base here.
Yep, but the Chieftain just went down. Ripped that boy, and I wanted to check if he had... I keep mixing these boys up. Okay, he did not pick up Thick Hide Rage, so didn't have the invulnerability available to him. So he went down in the end there. So that was a very nice hold for Rhaah. Yeah, he didn't even lose the base. Rhaah overcommitted on the right click on the base, which enabled the reinforcements to come in and smack him in the back.
We also did go for the Infected Corpse Troll, so we do have the right side taken for the Plaguebringer. That'll actually be huge for breaking up these mirror fights.
Exactly, and also you can... I think a lot of people are not quite aware that you can actually get 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think the first one went down to the thrower boys, so not too good. I think... I'm not entirely 100% on that, but I think if you would like kill some of these workers... Let's speak theoretically. Before the teleport comes in, then you could probably use Life from Death to shield your guys up before the fight. But I would still need to try that, but maybe that's some food for thought. Or someone... Oh, excuse me. It's a plus 60% resist. I did not read that in the patch notes.
What? Plus 60% resist?
Apologies. So yeah, Thick Hide Rage is no longer an invulnerability, indeed. It is just a flat out 60 resist.
Wow, okay.
But you still get the 10-second minus 100 weakened effect.
That's significantly worse than immune. Wow. Interesting,
Well,
okay.
Let's check. He does not have the tier 3 armor. I think the troll one is still just the same as everybody else's. So I think you get like 20 melee resist. So you might max out on the pierce resist, which would be good against the throwers.
Still a very even game in terms of population and in terms of overall build. I'm kind of impressed, actually, to see how these two players have tried different styles, different heroes, and they're actually coming out very equal right now. It's kind of cool. This is actually a really interesting mirror matchup to watch.
The problem is Rhaah has a lot of Skull Crushers now. He does not have many throwers, but the Skull Crusher will just melt all these frontline units, but seems to be like just the right angle for Pride to take that fight.
Yeah, and Rhaah accidentally had 2 of his throwers out in front, and those got sniped out. And another 2 smashers going down, so he just lost 4 units for basically nothing.
By the way, we have tier 2 for Rhaah and no tier 2 for Pride. So that's very interesting.
That's a big difference.
Let's check. So he's got hitting camps, and 2 double hitting camp and 1 throwing camp. 4 fight huts, double scrap hordes for Rhaah. And Pride, 4 fight huts, double scrap, and just 1 hitting and 1 throwing.
Another big engagement going down here in the middle. Looks like we are going to be having a full-on stick-in from both sides. They're just trying to see if they can wail on each other. Plaguebringer throwing all of his spells that he's able to get, but really efficient trades being taken by both sides. You can see that they're focus firing all these low-health heroes, or all these low-health smashers.
Oh god, so many heads being caved in on both sides.
There's just big sticks bonking each other right now, but it looks like Rhaah is able to come out on top with that superior Skull Crusher count.
Chieftain went down again.
A Chieftain going down. I really am liking this Plaguebringer in this Troll Mirror matchup. I really am liking how he's able to provide just a lot of utility instead of another big body to soak damage.
Yep, it's a little bit easier to handle. You also have to... The positioning is a little bit easier, just with any ranged hero. He has not picked up Tiring Attack or anything of the like. He did go Brute Force for some extra spell stuff. So that's
we are seeing Rhaah actually take 2 of these Skull Crushers and start upgrading them into Wall Breakers. So...
Ooh, and Pride is actually out of food and 106 pop capped and only 2 more smashers in production. While Rhaah has...
Oh no.
He's also out of food, but he's still at 147 with 4 in production.
We are seeing this Eye of the Tribe get attacked. I don't think that Pride can contest this. I think he needs some more time.
Yeah.
I don't think he's able to contest.
That's... Oh, he does try. That's very interesting. He still hasn't bought...
I'm kind of surprised.
Pride still doesn't have his armor, which is pretty big for the Chieftain, since he's just pretty big.
That's a big miss. I think that he went for the level 3 weapon instead. I really think that he needs that armor just to stay alive.
Yeah, I'm very curious that he seems to have bought the Ring of Nullification. I'm not sure if that was by accident or on purpose, but I think you can't get that from mobs on this map.
Yeah, there's no mobs that drop items on this map, so I am kind of surprised he went for the Ring of Null. Maybe after his Chieftain died the first time, and he just decided to go all in to try to get some assistance for him. We also have, in the top right-hand corner, Pride has a bugged Scrapper. If you look, the Scrapper is just flickering back and forth and actually collecting these scrap. So that's actually a huge deal. Yep. For those of you who don't know, Scrappers are 20 foods. They're a huge investment, and that's how you get your special resources, trolls.
Also, Rhaah is using Infect Building now, so level 2 actually. So 65 siege damage and 100% production reduction. Oh, that's a nice...
Production reduction. Ooh, that ring's nice.
Also, we have double wall breaker on the front lines for him. So those buildings are going down nice and easy. Did get nerfed, but not that substantially. See, Chieftain.
Really big fight happening here. Lots of big boys hitting each other with big sticks, and we're just gonna kind of see who comes out on top. It's really hard to comment that fight. We are gonna see Rhaah back up, but he got the damage he wanted to do. He not only killed the sector, but he also killed every building in it, which is gonna require Pride to rebuild everything. He's also now 2 levels behind in the hero fight.
Exactly. I'm kind of sad that we don't see some Hexa stuff coming out. It looks like we are not producing any offerings yet from Rhaah. Maybe we'll see some in the future. But neither has Pride. He has teched up though.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting.
We are seeing strong Hearts of the Tribe on both teams now.
Exactly. I'm trying to figure out who has his Flinger up, has their Flinger upgrades, and looks like Pride has it. So his Flingers will slow, which might give him a kite advantage if he can force some of that. And yep, Toxic Spine's not researched for Rhaah, so that's...
What is his next?
Ooh, yeah, 3 Spike Flingers, 6 Throwers. So there is some kiting potential here. Let's see if he can do anything with that.
This Scrapper being bugged out is a really big deal too, because I just checked and it looks like Rhaah has a total of 3 Scrappers, while Pride tried to go for 4, so he tried to go for that tech advantage, but he's really getting punished right now because he's got this bug Scrapper here, and there's no way he's ever going to check unless this Scrap Pile runs out and then he'll realize it's been bugged.
Yeah, it's the most annoying thing. Like if you rally them onto the thing, if you queue up more than 2, you always have to double check. It's like with you just have to get into the habit of it. It's like upgrading a Elven building. You always have to like go back and assign the workers.
Or if you accidentally retreat your units from a building, how they never... Like we saw in that last 2v2, actually, when you retreat your units from a building and you have to manually check and make sure you've unretreated because they'll never show up as idle workers.
Yeah.
Build more shelters.
So we are going to see these wall breakers just come in and just absolutely toast this building. Oh no! A missed TP.
Oh.
Just the Chieftain TP'd in, no army. Oh, Pride's pissed.
Uh-oh.
He even says it in the chat. Oh no.
What happened there? Where was he?
I think what happened is the Chieftain had been selected onto the shopkeeper, and the army had just been walking elsewhere because they were not even close to where it was. Oh, that's a tilter.
I couldn't quite remember if he was like on the right side and then Godstoned his army in, and then like the guy was left alone on the right.
I think he was going to the shopkeeper to buy.
Yeah.
But that's a huge loss.
That's a big oopsie, in a professional sense. Yeah, kids, always check your hero before you TP. Always like rally your army on top of it. Use Control A to not select a hero, click on your hero, and then teleport. That's a
big fight yet again. I think advantage definitely going to Pride in this fight, though.
That's a lot of throwers, though, on Rhaah's side.
That's a lot of... Oh man, actually, this is really hard to tell. I have no idea who's winning. I think I think Rhaah's winning now, actually. I think that now he's on top of the throwers, yep. Shrine to Mugwa just finished for Pride. Interesting, kind of an anti-time. He just finished 3 shrines to Mugwa on the top right. And it decided to fight right now. Kind of strange. I figured he'd want to hold off for his tech advantage, but...
Yeah, I think he figured after that blunder he had to make something happen.
Chieftain going down yet again. I think that's game over. He just lost everything.
Yeah, with
And there's
we
still
saw
a
the
big
thick
army
height
left.
rage pop there, but it's not an invulnerability anymore. And without the tier 3 armor, he's a gonzo.
I'd like to officially apologize to Pride for saying I think he had that fight. I immediately caster cursed him. I really do apologize. That's my bad.
Never do it again.
Never again will I say in a troll v troll matchup who I think is winning. I think I've been wrong 3 out of 3 times.
Like sometimes it can be a bit weirdly swingy depending on the unit position, but it's like in real life. The bigger army wins 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, and especially in trolls, they are the biggest lads and the biggest armies. I think this is game over here if Rhaah realizes he's as far ahead as he is, and I think he does.
Yeah.
He's several levels above the chieftain. He kept the army. His thrower count, most importantly, is super healthy. He's got 10 throwers or so here, and he's just gonna be able to cut off the head. And sort of take away these important sectors. I don't think there's any way Pride can remax this
Jesus,
time.
as small as Pride's army is, that's 76 pop cap. That's always confusing as fuck.
It is, because trolls are such a pop greedy army. I'm looking at how small his numbers are too. I don't even think this chieftain has level 3 armor yet, which is again why he keeps dying over and over.
Yeah,
I think that's actually been a huge difference in this game specifically, is him going for the level 3 weapon versus level 3 armor. I think that's been a huge change, and I think that we just see a concede here. Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
So GG, Rhaah takes it, and or did we just lose? Did we just lose it?
Oh,
I think.
no. I hope it's just not just a legit desync.
I think it was just desync. Yeah. Oh dear.
Oh wait, is he back?
Well, we're gonna see a last fight here. I think we're gonna see. I think what we just saw is we just saw him concede in about 20 seconds. I think we just saw in the future. I think we're oracles for about 20 seconds.
That might be it. No, it just makes you sad seeing the chieftain in the basic armor that late in the game.
Yeah, I mean, look, he doesn't do anything. This reminds me of when I played my Wolfguard commander and I play against range armies, and you teleport in, then you just watch it get shot immediately to death. Chieftain can't really do anything. Great game. Really impressive Plaguebringer showing. That was fantastic.
Especially with coming in as random, that's always hard.
Yeah.
Really well played.
Great game by Rhaah. Really well played.
I haven't even seen him use the shield much. I hope he did, and I just missed it. But it's a very good spell.
And if we look here, Rhaah only produced 11 more units. He killed 23 additional units. So just straight up was more efficient.
Yeah,
also 4 hero
kills.
kills.
Yeah. That was the bigger issue, I think.
Also, if we go to the heroes tab, you can see damage dealt by heroes 26,000 for Rhaah, 40,000 damage dealt by that Plaguebringer, an extra 14,000 damage especially in a mirror matchup. Is huge.
No, Pride is actually that with the 40,000. That's the chieftain.
Yeah, Pride with the 40,000 damage. I'm really kind of impressed to see that difference. I honestly didn't. I thought it would be the other way around. Honestly.
Well, the chieftain is pretty good. Like the Plaguebringer is more of a utility hero, less of a he does the debuffs and everything, and then everything else does more damage. Whereas the chieftain just smashes your face in. And then late game he has some resistance debuffs, but you have to be like melee range for that. Well, the
classic troll guys, just bigger guy with a bigger stick.
Indeed. That's what you get when you get that big stick upgrade earlier for the armor. Lots of damage, lots of death though.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna jump in right now to Cheese